Hello, what's up guys? Welcome to the next video in the video series dedicated to Caddy, and in this video we're going to see how to actually create a file server in Caddy, applying multiple different rules, integrating it with the basic authentication that also comes by default in the Caddy official image. So without any delay, let's get down to work. So as you can see, I'm the official documentations for the file server directive on the Caddy website, and right over here you can see some explanation about the different concepts and different features that this directive adds to the Caddy server. So I'll move down right over here. You can see the total syntax of how we can actually make use of this directive, and if you actually want to dive deeper in this, I recommend you read through these documentations, but actually I'll move to the VS Code right over here, and you can see that I've got some files prepared in order to demonstrate how this functionality works in Caddy. So you can find all the relevant files in my GitHub repository, for which you can find the link in the description section of this video. So as you can see right over here, I've got a basic Docker Compose file in which I have only one service, which is using the official Caddy image with some recent tag, and by setting the restart policy, I'm actually telling the Docker engine to try to restart this container whenever you see that it is not up and running. So on the environment variable section, I'm actually passing the TZ environment variable to actually set the time zone of the container that will be created, and on the port section right over here, I'm actually exposing two ports, one being 80 and the other 443, two exact same ports inside the container. So as a result, I'll be able to make requests to these exact same ports on the host machine that will be hosting this Caddy container, that will later configure to listen to these two exact ports. So as a result, I'll be able to use the host machine's IP address to communicate with this Caddy server on these two exact ports. So on the volume section right over here, I'm actually mapping the .caddyfile to this exact path inside the container, so the Caddy will use this exact file to initially configure itself. And right over here, I've got the .data and .config that will be placed right next to my Docker Compose file to /data and /config inside the container. Also, the Caddy will try to use these two directories in order to store its data and any configuration that it will be creating. And lastly, I've got the .static directory mapped to /static inside the container, and actually I'll try to serve this .static directory right next to my Docker Compose file as a file server, and actually I'll be expecting to share some files through HTTP or HTTPS protocol to my users. So if I move to the Caddyfile, right over here you can see that I'm setting the automatic redirect from HTTP to HTTPS protocol to off, and right over here I'm actually defining the two ports that I'm expecting the Caddy file to be listening on these two exact ports. So if I move down right over here, I'll actually skip to the handle path part for now. So as you can see, I've got a handle path directive that is handling the /static/star, and by setting the encode directive, I'm actually defining these two methods to actually try to compress my files. Next, by passing the templates directive, I'm actually telling the Caddy to try to use the Go templates whenever, like for example, I'm using some HTML files and I'm using some placeholders in my HTML file, and by using some predefined templates, I'll actually be able to return some dynamic HTML. So by using root, I'm actually setting the exact path for the Caddy to try to look for the files. So as we saw in the Docker Compose file, I mapped the .static directory to /static inside the container. So this is exactly the same directory that will be as the root directory of my file server. And lastly, right over here, I'm using the file server directive and enabling the browse functionality. So as a result, the clients will be able to browse through the directories back and forth inside the /static directory. And also I'm using the hide directive to actually hide whatever files that are named as secret. So as a result, the client won't be able to see these exact files with these exact names through this file server. So I'll move up right over here. You can see that by using the basic auth directive, I've actually tried to enable the basic authentication on the /static/bob and /static/alice. So on the section related to enabling basic authentication in Caddy, I explained with more detail. So if you're wondering how all this basic authentication works in Caddy and how to configure it based on your use cases, you can actually give a visit to that section of my Caddy tutorial. So by passing the Bob as user and its hashed password, I'm actually enabling the basic authentication with this exact credential right over here, and actually I'm using the exact same for the /alice, providing it with its credentials. So the thing that I'll expect from the Caddy is that whenever the clients make a request to the /static, I want the Caddy to try to serve the /static directory as a file server, but whenever the clients make requests to the /bob and /alice, I want the Caddy to actually ask for the credentials for that exact path. So right over here on the static directory, you can see that I've got a directory for the Alice user with a dummy file inside it, and exactly same for the Bob user. And actually I've got a HTML directory that actually has an HTML file inside that, in which I've actually tried to use the Go templating, which will be understood by the Caddy server. And outside this, I have a file.txt and a file with the exact name that I use in the Caddyfile to actually hide from the clients. So I'll try to move to the terminal. Right over here, I'll hit ls to make sure I'm in the exact same directory that I have my config files and static directory. And if I say docker compose up-d, I'll actually expect my Caddy container to be created. And if I say docker compose ps, I can make sure that my container is up and running with the exact ports mapped to inside the container. So I'll say docker compose logs -f and --tail 100 to actually grab the latest 100 lines of the output of the Caddy container. And as I can see, things are looking good, and right now I should be able to make requests to the Caddy server on the /static path to actually make use of this file server. So I'll try to move to the browser right over here. If I make requests to the exact address of the host machine that is running my Caddy container on port 80, I'm actually able to receive some responses from that. And if I go ahead and move to the /static path, you can see that Caddy is responding with a browsable web interface. So me as the client will be able to move through the files and directories of this file server. So if I move into the HTML directory, as you can see, the response from is being sent back to me. And if I try to reload, you can see that the time is changing according to the time of me making requests to the Caddy server. So I'll move back, and you can see that the Caddy is not showing the secret file because I tried to hide it in the Caddyfile. So if I try to move inside the Bob directory, you can see that the browser is actually prompting for a username and password. And if I pass some incorrect credentials, I'll hit enter. As I expect, the Caddy server won't accept that on the /bob path because I've configured the /bob with its related credentials. So I'll say Bob and pass in the correct password. I'll hit enter, and you can see that I'm also able to see through the files and directories inside the Bob directory. So I'll move up and do the exact same for the Alice, and again I'll pass the credentials for the Alice user, and I'll hit enter. Again, you can see that I am also able to see through the Alice directory. So with all the configurations and all the cool features that we learn about Caddy, we can mix all these directives and actually try to configure Caddy as our desired state. So that's all for this video. If you have any questions, any recommendations, of course, go ahead and ask me in the comment section down below. If you haven't watched the previous videos, I recommend you give a visit where you can learn about the basic concepts and things like bot detections, caching, manipulating course policies, and cool features like that. So if you're interested, you can find the relevant link to the playlist down in the description section also. So lastly, if you found the video useful, please don't forget to give a like and subscribe to my channel, which will help grow the channel and motivate me to create more free contents like this. That's all for this video, and with that, I hope to see you in the next videos.